Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating stadium stories ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. How a 38-year-old NFL venue in the heart of South Florida transformed itself into a genuine global football destination and earned the right to host 7 World Cup matches, including a quarterfinal and the third-place playoff. From a $115 million privately financed experiment in 1987 to a $550 million overhaul that reshaped what a modern stadium could look like, this is the story of Hard Rock Stadium. Let's get started. History and context. Hard Rock Stadium has been synonymous with South Florida sports since August 16, 1987, when it opened as Joe Robbie Stadium, named after the Miami Dolphins founder who built it entirely with private funds, a genuinely unprecedented move in American sports at the time. The stadium cost $115 million to construct and opened with 75,000 seats around a rectangular bowl. That rectangular footprint was deliberate. Joe Robbie believed a Major League Baseball team would eventually come to Miami, and he wanted the stadium designed to convert between sports with minimal disruption. He was right. The Florida Marlins arrived in 1993 and called the stadium home for 18 seasons. For much of its early history, the venue was a quiet powerhouse. It hosted its first Super Bowl just 2 years after opening, in 1989. By 1999, it had staged 3 Super Bowls and earned a reputation as one of the NFL's premier event venues. When the Marlins won the World Series in 1997 and again in 2003, both celebrations happened here. But the dual-sport configuration came at a cost. The first row of seats sat 90 feet from the sideline in football mode, considerably wider than most NFL venues, and a persistent criticism from fans who found the atmosphere too distant. The situation shifted dramatically in 2011. The Marlins left for a purpose-built ballpark in downtown Miami, and the stadium, then known as Sun Life Stadium, was finally free to fully commit to football. But that freedom came with a stark reality. The venue now ranked as one of the oldest and least competitive in the NFL. By 2010, the league had warned owner Stephen Ross that the stadium would no longer be considered for Super Bowl bids unless significant renovations were made. A $200 million proposal involving a hotel tax contribution from Miami-Dade County collapsed in 2012 after failing to secure public support. Ross decided to go it alone. The problem: by the early 2000s, the gap between Hard Rock Stadium and newer NFL facilities had become impossible to ignore. Stadiums in Dallas, New York, and San Francisco were raising the bar with retractable roofs, premium hospitality networks, and modern concourses. South Florida's venue, wide open and fully exposed to the region's punishing summer heat, struggled to compete for marquee events. The north-facing stands bore the full force of the midday sun during September games, a problem so severe that Ross petitioned the NFL to schedule all September home games at 4 p.m. or later. The 193 executive suites and broader hospitality infrastructure no longer met the expectations of fans or the league's event committees. For a market with Miami's global profile, that disconnect had become a serious liability. And Ross moved forward in January 2015 with a renovation financed entirely through private funds. The plan. The renovation was structured across 3 phases, carefully timed around NFL seasons to avoid relocating the Dolphins. HOK, the firm that had designed the original 1987 stadium, returned as lead architect, working alongside Miami-based Arquitectonica on the canopy and Rockwell Group on the premium interior spaces. Structural engineering was handled by Thornton Tomasetti, whose team faced the extraordinary challenge of erecting one of North America's most complex canopy structures over a fully operational stadium. Phase 1: seats, concourses, and premium spaces. The first phase, completed for the 2015 NFL season, replaced every seat in the 29-year-old facility, all 65,326 of them. The lower bowl was reconfigured, bringing fans 25 feet closer to the sidelines than before and eliminating the wide field baseball layout entirely. The north and south concourses were widened to 40,000 square feet each, creating space for modern food and beverage offerings that had long been absent. The renovation also introduced 32 living room boxes, 4-seat private pods located along the 35-yard line, each with individual recliners, programmable high-definition TVS, and access to the 72-club indoor lounge. A further 16 pods were installed in the south end zone alongside new corner terraces and a field club running the full length of the south sideline. Phase 2. The canopy. The centerpiece of the entire project was always the canopy, and its construction, completed in 9 months during the 2016 offseason, ranks among the most technically complex renovation feats in modern stadium history. The structure is completely independent of the existing stadium building. 8 massive reinforced concrete super columns were constructed at the 4 corners, 2 at each corner, driven into the ground alongside the existing structure without touching it. 4 steel masts rise from those columns to a height of 109 meters each. 64 locked coil steel cables, each up to 300 feet in length, fan outward from the masts to support the roof trusses. The outer sideline trusses span 450 feet. The end zone trusses span 350 feet. The entire canopy weighs 17,000 tons and covers 14 acres. The canopy surface consists of 95,200 square feet of ETFE pillows, the same translucent material used at the Allianz Arena in Munich and the London 2012 Aquatic Center. ETFE allows natural light through to the playing surface while blocking direct sun and rain from the seating bowl. The result? Approximately 92% of fans are kept shaded and dry without losing the open-air atmosphere or the natural grass pitch. Perhaps most critically for Miami, the canopy is rated to withstand Category 4 hurricane wind forces, built completely independent of the existing stadium structure, so retrofits to the original building were kept to a minimum. South Florida sits in the heart of the Atlantic Hurricane Corridor, and that specification was an engineering necessity, not a marketing flourish. Phase 3. Suites and Party Terraces. The third phase, completed in 2017, overhauled all premium spaces on the 200 club and mezzanine suite levels, with new corner clubs and party terraces on the upper 300 level, open areas with bar service and panoramic field views, rounding out a hospitality network that covers every fan type from general admission to ultra premium. Timeline and financials. The renovation ultimately exceeded its original $350 million budget, reaching a final cost of $550 million as the canopy's scope expanded. The return on investment was immediate. In mid-2016, with canopy construction still underway, Hard Rock Stadium was selected to host Super Bowl 54. February 2020 delivered the Kansas City Chiefs defeating the San Francisco 49ers before 62,417 fans, the stadium's 6th Super Bowl and a confirmation of its restored elite status. The renovation was funded entirely by Stephen Ross and the Dolphins organization. No public subsidy. The naming rights agreement with Hard Rock International, signed August 2016, is worth $250 million over 18 years through 2034, offsetting a significant portion of the overall investment. For FIFA, the modernized venue made a compelling case. Hard Rock Stadium has hosted international football since 1988. Copa America 2024 brought the tournament's final to Miami, Argentina defeating Colombia in extra time, and the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup delivered 8 matches at the venue, including Real Madrid's round of 16 tie, serving as a full dress rehearsal for 2026. For the World Cup, the stadium will be temporarily renamed Miami Stadium, in line with FIFA's corporate naming restrictions, and will host 7 matches, 4 group stage games, a round of 32 fixture on July 3rd, a quarterfinal on July 11th, and the third-place playoff on July 18th. Highlights include Brazil versus Scotland on June 24th and Portugal versus Colombia on June 27th. 2 fixtures that will draw enormous audiences from South Florida's large Latin American diaspora. Nearly 1 million visitors are expected in Greater Miami across the tournament period, and a temporary natural grass pitch will be installed to meet FIFA specifications. Security has been significantly upgraded following the Copa America crowd incident, with multiple ticket screening checkpoints now enclosing the entire stadium campus. At approximately 64,000 in soccer configuration, Hard Rock Stadium ranks among the smaller of the 11 U.S. World Cup venues, but its canopy, its premium infrastructure, and its position in one of North America's most internationally connected cities made it a selection that went well beyond raw capacity.